Come on. Hey, come on, y'all.
That's everybody.
Duchess.
It
Or no,
was.
that's Chocolate. That's Bell's baby. Of course it's acting like that.
I tell you, grass is looking good. I hope we can continue to get a couple showers of rain every now and then.
My sweet babies.
They are pretty.
I know, whoever thought I'd like a bunch of cows? If you'd asked me that 10 years ago.
You thought it was all horses, didn't you?
Yep.
Well, welcome back, y'all.
It's the start of a busy, busy day as usual.
Yeah.
Moving cows, and that was just the start of it. I guess we're gonna go do some work out here in the garden.
Yeah, we actually got some stuff that's completely coming out and some more stuff going in. So, mainly in our raised beds, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're doing anything to the in-ground stuff. But I reckon we're going to completely...
The cold crops this time.
Yeah, cabbage and broccoli, they're coming out.
They've done their due, and then some of the potatoes.
And the green peas.
Yeah.
They're all coming
Oh,
out.
the green peas are like done.
Yep.
They're cooked.
We've had some really hot temperatures for the past week. And it's actually normal temperatures, but it's just been such a cool spring, they felt hot. But anyways, they've really took a toll on them green peas. Before we get started in our garden this morning, Jacob has got something here that he's pretty proud of that he wants to show everybody.
My garden's a little bit better than y'all's garden.
Jacob says that his garden's going to outperform our garden this year.
Yeah.
Look how high they've already run up on this fence here.
They've grown since yesterday.
Back behind, on the other side of the fence, is a pumpkin that came up on its own, so we've kind of just left it.
Here's my sweet corn. It's growing good.
That sweet corn looks great. And I want to mention, y'all, nothing in this garden has had any type of synthetic fertilizer put on it at all.
It's just had my fertilizer.
And we did throw, I think this corn right here and its tomato plants had a couple handfuls of that organic fertilizer put by it in it. But then the rest has just been your concoction.
My concoction.
You want to tell them what your concoction is before we get into it?
It's comfrey leaves, sit in water, and then sit a rock on top of them to smash them all down, and just leave it sitting. And then you can tell when it's ready because it's dark black and it stinks.
It does stink. Now, didn't you add some grass clippings to some of it?
I add some clover clippings to some of it.
That's right, because they're high in nitrogen.
Yeah.
So, how long do you let it sit?
A month like a month or more.
And it's in like a 5-gallon bucket, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So it's all something on his own, you know, he come up with. And it's working, apparently.
Yep.
Look at it. All right.
This is my blue corn. It's blue. It's gonna be blue.
You've got cucumbers in between every piece of corn here.
This one's the biggest one.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
That one's the best looking one too.
But we got.
But this is blue field corn,
Yeah.
not sweet corn. It's field corn.
Yeah, and I want to see. It's supposed to make purple cornbread, so I want to try, and I'm gonna try some of this cornbread.
I think it'll be cool.
And also this one looks pretty good. And here's my little watermelon. It almost dried up and died.
Yeah.
It's just still tiny.
Yeah, I think that one's one of the ones that come up on its own.
And
then we got this one.
Then a tomato come up over here and a watermelon.
Right
No,
there.
we planted that watermelon.
Yeah, we planted the watermelon and your tomato come up on its own.
Yeah. Then this watermelon, and that watermelon, both of those come up on their own. No, wait. Only that one did. We planted that one.
That one come up on its own.
Yeah.
That one we planted.
Yeah. And here's another potato.
Yep, that one come up on its own too.
Yeah. Here's
there's
one.
another one you just walked by.
I did?
Right there. That's not a bad looking
Wait,
one.
that's the one that I remember, not that one. And then I got this tomato. Then this green bean grew all the way up through here and ripped and went around this, and now it's going up through here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a jungle when everything really. I mean, it's starting to take off big time, and it's going to be kind of crazy out here.
Yeah, it got blooms on it, but it doesn't got no tomatoes. Here's my little tomato.
I think that tomato, it's got that spotted wilt virus. It might ought to just come out. We've had a lot of tomatoes this year with that.
These are better boys. And then this one is my most beautiful looking one. It got a green tomato on it right here.
There it is.
Yep, right there.
See it down in there?
That's the only one it got. I've been trying to keep these in the cage, but they just keep growing out.
Yeah, cages are somewhat hard to deal with.
Yeah.
You could take and break that sucker off and root it and start another one.
So could I like break it off and then put it in a plant and I put it in a pot and let it grow?
Yeah. You break it off and it'll grow new roots.
I have 3 times the room, and I can't believe I used to have a garden. Last year I had a garden that was this big. It stopped right here.
Yeah, your garden last year was in the old part of the chicken coop.
Yeah. But
and
now,
this year, we expanded, so your garden expanded.
Yeah, it's 3 times the size.
You know, think about it, Jacob. I mean, there's going to be a lot of food. If all of this actually produces the way it should, there's going to be a lot of food growed in this little tiny space right here.
Yeah, this shows that if you have a little bitty space, you can grow a whole bunch of stuff, even if you just have a little bitty space.
That's exactly right, as long as you don't mind a mess being crammed on top of each other. The good thing is, when you've got stuff crammed like this, it may get tough come harvest time to come in and out of here, but all of this is going to eventually shade everything out, and so to have that ground shaded, and weeds will, I mean, we'll probably have a weed pop up through here and there, but weeds are going to be non-existent in this thing once everything really starts getting up tall. We got in here yesterday and worked it. That's only twice that we've hoed through this garden. I mean, and you can see there's still some weeds in there, but it's not been a problem in that thing. Get some of this soil out of this bag up here.
Okay.
In the greenhouse and put it in a pot. And you don't want to leave it in the greenhouse though, it'll be too hot in there. Soak it down there. Keep going.
They good? Golly.
All right, look, let's take this little sucker here out and let's break that leaf right there off.
Okay.
And then we're just gonna bury all the way down in there. Give me another handful of dirt. And that thing will create roots all the way up that stem. You just gonna have to
keep it watered.
You're gonna have to water it like probably multiple times a day to start with.
Okay.
Well, what you can do is pull that one out that's looking kind of bad and put that one in its place.
Oh.
That or just plant it somewhere else.
I didn't think of that.
I think next thing on our list today is cleaning all this mess right here out. I'm not sure anything's gonna go back in its place. These beds right here may just be empty till the fall crops come in. Boy, I tell you what, monster there.
We don't even have to keep that one. I can give that one to the pigs too.
Okay. Well, it's not really hard anyways. That's a pretty one. There's no bug damage on it or anything. So which one's for the pigs? It's over here.
Yeah.
just fill up that buggy for now and leave the rest here.
I would give him to Lovey, but I gave him cabbage leaves the other day and he wouldn't eat them.
I know. He won't eat anything.
That's all probably gonna fit.
Yep. Yeah, we'll leave the rest out there. We'll pull all them tomorrow sometime.
Okay.
I'm gonna go stick this in the ground, see if it grows.
All right.
More.
Where are you gonna put it at?
In your garden.
In your garden?
If I can find room.
On these beans right here, they were wanting to keep on climbing up, so we attached another cattle panel up to them there and look at them. I mean, they're going to outgrow that. I bet if we had something tall enough, them things would probably run 20, 30 feet up in the air. I guess that right there will just be all pig food. We'll do these the same way. Let's just leave these in the
Yeah,
ground.
the slugs is eating them up out here.
Well, a cabbage just don't do nothing but hold moisture.
Right.
It's the perfect place for a
Slugs.
slug to live. Pretty good there, ain't it? That's a pile of cabbage heads.
Yeah. Yeah, the refrigerator's gonna be full.
And they're good sized ones too.
That's some of the best cabbage we've had in several years.
Well, I guess it liked that cool weather.
Yep.
Back to the beans over here, y'all. Look at the blooms on these. I come out here the other day and was cultivating around, just taking care of some weeds. And I got to looking and I was like, what kind of bug is on these beans already? Because all I seen was that. And it looked like a little red beetle. And I realized it was the bloom. And I was like, oh, they're supposed to look like that. I've never planted a bean that had a red bloom. I thought that was pretty cool. But I would like to show y'all something else. We've been talking about our straw. I mean, putting hay down and everything to keep the weeds down. Now, I will say there is some maintenance to this. Like, it's not like 100% weed free. You have stuff like this that comes through it, and you just have to come out here and spend just a little bit of time every now and then pulling that kind of stuff. And it's really not that big a deal, and then you try to cover up that spot because the weed will come back there. See, up against our plants, we do have some weeds, and sometime late this season when it cools off, I'll probably come out here and spend about 30 minutes and just walk around pulling weeds. See, like we even have some right in there. So I just want to point that out though, just so y'all don't think it's a maintenance-free setup, because it does require just a little bit of input from you. However, it is a whole lot better than having just the bare dirt out here. I mean, a whole lot better. Check out these watermelons, y'all. They coming on with it. Look in there. Little babies. You can grab that wash pan, it's only got 2 in it. Boy, it ain't much under there. These few potato plants I'm digging right here are fangling potatoes that we had. We had these left over from last year, and so we replanted some here. Now that's a decent one. They never did great either, and it shows on what I'm pulling out of the ground here. Several potatoes under each one, but they're just not much size. The ones on this end of the bed are also fangling potatoes, but they are the store-bought seed potatoes we bought, and for some reason, they performed a whole lot better than the ones we kept from last year in this bed. The vines on them are just now starting to die back. Not terrible.
That one is. It's starting one.
Oh, that's pretty.
Is this the short, fat ones you planted again?
Maybe. Look at that.
Yeah. It's not bad.
To be as thick as they are, I'm surprised there was one that big in there.
Well, they're not as thick as they look. Don't you remember they didn't half come up? So they're not like really quite. I mean, it may be in some places, but
Yeah, right here they're extremely thick on this point. But back in here, I think they're not.
Good?
mm-hmm.
I don't know, Megan. I say let's give them.
Well, I wasn't saying we were gonna pull them all day. I just want to see what they look like.
Okay. Yeah, I believe they should go a little bit more before we.
Cause I ain't gonna like it when it starts getting hot.
What the? They ain't gonna like it, you mean? You look like Bugs Bunny over there. That might be. Ain't nothing under. All right.
Well, those can go in the house.
Those are pretty.
Yeah, Jacob will eat them. Probably as soon as I take them in there.
Here, Biggie. Come on. Make a big way out there. Here, Biggie. Come on. Ain't a bad looking herd of pigs, is it?
Watch them take a bite out of that baby.
Mm-hmm.
You see him?
Yeah. Biting like an apple. Look at it. He's tearing that thing up. You know, my biggest fear was doing cucumbers this late.
They're gonna get disease and die before they ever make anything.
Yep. So I'm gonna probably have to do something I've never had to do before. And that's kind of halfway stay on top of the disease.
Yeah.
So we can actually get a harvest of cucumbers.
Did you show them our beans over here?
I did, yeah, I showed them this morning. I just noticed we got a couple of corn stalks that's falling over. Has something been out here because one out yonder was broke.
I
That
thought
one
maybe it
fell
was where
over.
you tilled them.
I didn't till them. We went between them with a hoe.
I mean, it could have been a tiger.
Well, that's what I was starting to say. It looks like a dog and a cat's been out here. And while we're going down through there, we'll weed it.
All right.
I got this. My $1.25
Two.
tool. All right,
You want me to just take this in between the cucumber plants?
sure. You can use it to dig out grass or whatever if you need it, if it don't pull up. Ain't much weed in them. There's more weeds down there than it is up on
Well, I
this
pulled
end.
them the other day. I came through and cleaned out good around these things.
Oh. That tray down there is in Market Moors. They got some pretty roots on them.
They may outgrow these. You can't never tell.
Well, they might. I hope they do.
These have struggled. Just struggled.
I mean, Grandma's got cucumbers up there on hers ready to pick. And here we are, just now getting something going.
This is attempt number 3, right?
Yes. Yeah, we've replanted them from seed We've planted them from seed twice.
Yeah, and for anybody that's new around here may have missed them videos, we've always planted cucumbers and we've always just planted them straight in the ground. And well, this year it was not happening. So Andy ended up starting them in the greenhouse.
And they came up just fine
And
there.
they came up beautifully in the greenhouse. I don't know what the problem is.
So I will address something though. Somebody asked, was the straw we used in our garden had been sprayed with something? Had the hay we were using for mulch been sprayed for something? I will be quite honest with y'all. The straw I don't know about. I don't think so though, because the straw was on the whole garden, and I mean, look.
Yeah.
So if it had been something that would have caused a problem with that straw, we'd have had struggles in the whole garden.
I feel like it had been more than just this, yeah.
But now the hay that we use for mulch, no. As y'all see in our videos, we make our own and we don't spray anything on our hay.
Your little tool works pretty good though.
I know it does. Perfect.
That was a smart idea. It does get that grass up good. Grass is a pain. I just hope they make that I actually get some. Boy, wouldn't that be something?
What, to not have one?
Mm-hmm.
I know where you can find one if you end up not getting one. Go see Grandma. I told Grandma yesterday when we went up there and planted her sweet potatoes that I was going to have to record up there at her garden sometime and just show what a 85-year-old woman can do.
Anybody wonders where Andy gets his love of gardening and plants, it's his grandma, I think.
Her garden is beautiful.
She always has a pretty one most of the time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, all of my life, Grandma's always had a pretty one. All right, there's 3 market mowers.
Well, maybe be thankful that last year we had a bumper crop for a couple of weeks. Because I made plenty of pickles. We just may be running out of dill pickles. Something that's never happened before.
Nah, I think if I stay on top of it, I don't like to spray stuff on them for disease and all. But you know, this year I may just have to. I think if I stay on top of it, we'll be all right. I believe you spray them with that copper. I'll have to look into it, but I think you can use that copper, and we have copper.
We had to spray it on our tomatoes last year.
Fungicide. Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all for here. We'll bring some. Be a good job for the kids. I'll tell them to come back out here and water these.
There you go.
No, I know why they didn't come up out here. Look, everywhere I dig, I find an earthworm. I just cut that one. Poor fella. I don't think they come up out here because from this point back, you know, it stays shady a little bit longer. And I think where we had such a cool spring,
maybe that
the ground just didn't get hot enough.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know what kind of tomatoes these are.
I'm gonna say they're probably yellow ones.
You think so?
Probably. No, I don't know, but I bet they are. Leave them and find out. I thought about leaving them there and letting them run up that trellis.
That's what I figured we'd do. They're awful pretty and healthy.
I do know that this season I'm gonna have to get out here and do some weeding. We got some weeds coming right against here where there ain't no hay. All right, you ready to roll out to the raised bed? Old garden's looking pretty good, ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right, so the rest of these cucumbers we're gonna take out here and do something we ain't never done before.
Yeah.
Because we've always got green beans growing on our trellis in the raised beds out there. This year we don't. We've got those peas on them, and since the peas are done, well, I've got 2 more trays down here that I've got started, and I think we're going to try those in the raised beds. That's the thing. Grandma has got cucumbers coming up everywhere. You know, normally we have volunteer cucumbers
Yep.
coming up, and we didn't have none this year. But she's got them coming up everywhere up there. And I told her, I said, look at this. I said, I can't get one to come up from a planted seed, and you ain't even got to plant them. They just come up.
You seen how tall the tomatoes have got?
Yeah. Those, look at those out there.
I know.
Whatever those 3 right there, though, they ain't going to make it.
No.
We had a lot of the spotted wilt virus, I believe what it's called, this year. It
What is
seems
that?
like every year it gets worse and worse.
What does that come from?
Probably the weather conditions. I don't know. I seen that YouTube video that in our area that
Oh, that's
it's
right.
it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
The produce people are fighting it. That's right.
Yeah, the guy that we watched that grows commercial produce, and he said it used to not even be a thing, and now it's just getting worse every
Right.
year. You know, of course they spray with all kinds of stuff to keep that from happening, but I guess I'll just let it
take its course.
let it take its course, because I don't want to spray all my stuff with all that stuff they have to spray with. I'll show y'all what I'm talking about. This is part of it, and right here, this one. When it first starts out, the leaves get really spotted looking like that, and it's kind of like the tomato just wilts away to nothing. And from the best I can tell, that's what you call the spotted wilt virus. Right here's another one. That one actually looks like it's coming out of it, which I didn't think they would do. But anyways, look at this.
Yeah, look, I mean, let me, for verifications.
Yeah, look at it. Megan can hide out here though.
Those out there are taller than me, or right at as tall as I am.
These out here, I don't know what these are.
Probably the same kind of craziness that these are.
Right here's a real good example of that spotted wilt. See that one? It's done. There's no hope for it. Look at that. What is this, a cherry or is this a regular tomato?
Probably a cherry tomato. I don't know.
Yep, it's cherries. Right there they are.
Now, why in the world you planted these out here?
They were the volunteers that we had no idea what they were. I never expected them to be cherry tomatoes though, because we don't plant cherry tomatoes.
Oh no, I'm just picking. I'm gonna show you one more thing though before we move on, since we're out here.
What?
My herbs are very happy.
Basil looks good.
Yep, very happy. But anyways, that's not what I wanted to show you.
I showed them their watermelons earlier too.
There's big cantaloupes out here too.
Is it?
You ain't seen them?
No.
Hang on, I'll show them to you.
Oh, I really got to do some weeding out here. Look at
Look,
that.
look at that cantaloupe.
Oh,
Cantaloupe.
look at there.
Now, cantaloupe,
Now that one ain't gonna be no good there.
I think it's on the dead plant.
Yeah, it is.
Cantaloupe and watermelon, I could eat it till I'm sick. Hang on.
Is this the one you were leaving for seed?
There's a big one in there that's crooked.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Come here and look though.
My, oh my.
I can taste the tomato sandwich now.
I bet you can.
Yep.
You got so many cherry tomatoes. What are you gonna do with them all?
They make good tomato juice. I can use them probably, I guess.
Cherry tomatoes?
Yeah.
That seems like that's a lot of work, because you don't get a lot out of it.
I guess you use a bunch of them. I ain't never done it, but that's what people say.
Well, I'll tell you what. I hope it holds on, but it sure is pretty right now. There's been a ton of improvement since the temperature was warmed up.
Yep.
It's absolutely amazing what warm temperatures will do for a garden. So, you know, we didn't have that great a luck with these this year. While me and Megan were in there eating lunch, we remembered something. And the very first year we planted Kentucky Wonder pole beans, we didn't have that great a success with them either.
Bugs eat them up. I mean, we had a few, enough to save some seeds. But remember these seeds, we thought they died.
Yeah.
That year, because the bugs ate them up so bad.
And then ended up coming back out.
in
and
the
we
fall.
saved those.
And we saved those seeds, yeah.
And anyways, we're just wondering if it'll do anything if we save these seeds. And maybe next year when we plant them, they'll end up being a tougher, better bean for us.
Because that's what happened with the Kentucky Wonders. Now it's like, well, you see behind me, we didn't plant those.
We didn't plant those, but the ones in Jacob's garden out there were from our saved seeds.
Yep.
And
You can't kill these things.
yeah, they're doing wonderful.
Yeah.
So, just a thought. I ain't saying there's anything to it.
I didn't realize they're covered in beans.
Huh?
They're covered in beans.
Oh yeah, they're loaded with them. Full of blooms.
I seen the flowers, but I didn't see the beans.
Well, the whole year, this section right through here was the best performing of them all. So this is where I'm going to save my seed from. But like I said, y'all, I ain't saying there's nothing to it. But, you know,
don't hurt to try.
It don't hurt to try it. And sometimes I think there's more to saving your own seed than meets the eye. We just don't tend to do a whole lot of it. We'll dry them. We'll let them dry. I may lay them down there in the greenhouse. And then we'll shell them and try it again next year. Or maybe even this fall. But I think for the cucumbers, I'm just taking these out. We don't need these.
Well, at least you made them easy to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Well, I don't know if there's anything to it, but I think they get used to your growing environment or something.
Well, they say that they do, but I do think that it takes a long period of time for that to happen. Each year it will, though. Yeah, those aren't no count. Oh, here's a few. And that was the whole reason I bought these green arrow peas, is because they were
Save the
heirlooms,
seed, yeah.
and I'd be able to save a seed from them.
I mean, I got enough.
You just wasn't able to can any.
I
right?
freezed over a few pickings. I think I froze like a gallon-sized bag, just jam-packed full. So.
Oh, you did save some?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I froze them though because I picked them not all at the same time.
Well, maybe they did better than I thought they did.
And we beat on them several times. They just didn't last. Like they started looking, as soon as they started having peas, they started looking bad.
Right. Well, that was what I was paying attention to. They didn't seem to hold out very long.
And it wasn't hot. Like, I understand if it was hot, but it wasn't hot, and they started looking bad.
But you know, this is the same variety we planted in the fall, and those vines look beautiful.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And we just never made any peas because they ended up, the freeze come and
they got frostbite.
killed them. Man, don't that look so much better. It looks so much neater. Them peas were...
They got kind of rough looking.
Yeah, they were getting ragged. So, my thinking, Megan, is let's start right across here with the cucumbers. Then if we end up having extra ones, we'll plant these too, but for now we'll get them right here because
just make sure it's somewhere I can get to them.
Well, that was what I'm thinking, is this is on the side of the road where we're walking by all the time, so if they're ready to be picked, you'll probably notice them.
Or if they need to be, something's wrong with them, we'll see it too.
Or that. Plus, I have a drip line running all the way around the edge of this too.
Well, look at that, y'all. I mean, it just blows my mind, this cabbage haul this year. It must have really loved that cool spring that we had. So, I'm going to show you today how Andy's grandma taught me years ago how to keep cabbage, short term anyway, in the refrigerator. One thing I am going to tell y'all, if you're going to try to grow most of your own food, one refrigerator ain't going to do it. Unless you got a really cool spot to keep stuff. I have an old refrigerator out in my outbuilding, and usually things like this, that's where I keep it. Or extra milk, anything like that will go in that refrigerator. I'm not going to wash them. You can wash them if you want. I'm going to experiment a little bit and see how they keep without washing them, because what I ran into last year was soaking them beforehand. As you know how these cabbage are, you cannot get all that water out after you've submerged them in salt water. Yes, there will probably be some creepy crawlies on the outside of them little leaves there. They're gonna die anyway. But the water was actually, because that old refrigerator freezes stuff, kind of, and the water was freezing inside of my cabbage, and I had several that ruined because the water froze inside of them. So I'm going to try not washing them and just washing them before I use them. I don't see if that's going to hurt. The refrigerator's going to kill the bugs that's in them anyway. And if that freaks you out that I'm talking about bugs in cabbage, unless you just keep them things just absolutely sprayed with pesticides, that's just part of it. You're going to run into some creepy crawlies, especially. Cabbage is the perfect place for them to hide. So, we're just going to make sure all that's covered with tin foil. You may have to, depending on the size of your cabbage head, go one way with it and then go the other. Yep, like this one. It's not going to be covered all the way. But last year I kept them a couple months, I want to say. It was a couple months in the fridge like this. And it all worked out good. I don't even know how many I've got. I need to count them. So you will hear about in different places, different ways to keep cabbage. I know in my Foxfire book, you know, it does say that you can keep cabbage that you can pull cabbage up by the roots and hang it up in the root cellar, and it should keep that way. I tried that here a couple years ago with spring cabbage, and I think that was the problem. You know, because even though the root cellar does stay kind of the same temperature, it is, of course, cooler down there in the dead of winter. So, when I kept the spring cabbage, I don't know if it got too warm down there or what, but it didn't keep at all. Like, it didn't keep good for me whatsoever. And like I said, I think it would actually do better if I'd have done it with winter cabbage instead of spring cabbage. And I haven't tried it since then. Like I said, that's been a few years ago now. But this I've done several times. And it works for me anyway. So it looks like all together, I just counted them, it looks like all together I'm going to have 19 cabbage heads. That's pretty good. That's not counting what I've already fixed and everything. So, probably got, I don't know, I'd say at least 25 usable cabbage heads, if not more than that. I've used several of them, going out there picking, you know, the smaller ones and using them first. Because honestly, I just want to see how big the big ones will get. So, I'm going to get the rest of these wrapped up. And then, I'm going to go outside. It has been 2 weeks and a couple of days on my kraut. So, we're going to go out there and we're going to try it and see if it's ready.
All right, we ended up with enough on that trellis. We got this one full. I ended up having enough to cover this trellis right here. And then this was the green beans that come up on their own. I'm just leaving them alone. So if this works, I think it'll be pretty cool to have cucumbers. I mean, as late in the season as we are, I don't see them climbing all the way to the top. However, they'll probably get to at least middle ways right here, hopefully. And it'll be pretty cool to be able to walk under here and pick cucumbers if they work. But I think I'm going to now get the irrigation hooked up to the water hose and get all that going and let them be watering in. These are the peas I'm going to save for seeds. So I'm going to go in here and lay them in the greenhouse. They can be in there drying out, and then we'll shell them once they're completely dried. I'm going to tell y'all what, it's getting hot out here. We got out Jacob's lawnmower last night. If y'all have been around the channel for a long time, you can remember Jacob got that lawnmower a couple of years ago, and he used to mow the yard with it. Well, it's old, wore out. Anyways, it'd been sitting under the barn for several months, and the battery was dead on it, and we finally got it out last night, and he's like a kid with a new toy again. He's been riding the thing all day long. I'm gonna take these down here and store them in the greenhouse. See it coming out? That one probably should be moved to there. But I got the drip running on everything, so getting them all watered in real good. I do need to add some lines to run over to these peppers, and I'm probably going to do that here sometime a little bit later this evening. So just lay them out up here. Scatter them. We'll leave them laying there for now and let them things just naturally dry. Hopefully them that's still green are mature enough that they'll still develop that the seed will still germinate. Anyways, I figure why not? It's worth a shot. And it ain't like you got no money. You ain't got nothing to lose when you go to try and saving seeds. So anyways, we'll see how that works.
So here is my kraut, and it has been, the first 2 jars have been sitting for like 2 weeks and 2 days, and the rest of it's been 2 weeks. A couple of things happened. For the most part, all of it looks really good. This one pushed out most of the water, and then this one, for whatever reason, the top of it turned brown and didn't stay submerged like the rest of it did. Other than that, all of it looks really good. So, per the recipe, we're going to try it at the 2-week mark and just see if it needs to sit any longer. So, I have had a couple of questions about it. If I've been burping my jars, which means letting some of the pressure off. I wasn't going to because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to, but my lids bubbled up a little bit on them. So I did about 7 days in. I just cracked it just enough to let the pressure off, and I closed it back. And then I did it again, I think like on day 10, because it did it again, and it hasn't bubbled up like that since. But, so we're gonna just crack this slowly. And I heard the pressure release. It actually smells really good. So here's y'all up close of what that looks like. No browning or anything. It's a good color. It's actually pretty good.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised. You took a very big bite before you took your first bite. So apparently you wasn't scared.
Well, no, I mean, I would have been scared if it had been brown, but I do think it needs to sit and work a little bit longer. I don't think 2 weeks was quite long enough. So I'm going to mash that back down in there. But that is actually, it has a really good flavor. You know, we put that sugar in the top of it, but there's no There's no sweetness to it. Ain't that something? Simple as that. But anyways, guys, I guess that's going to about wrap up today's video. It has already been an extremely busy and warm day.
That it is.
So I think we're going to sit down and drink us some water and take it easy till it cools off this evening. But anyways, guys, till we see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.